Good afternoon. How's it going? It's a little bit chilly in here, and it seems like it's more conducive to practice that way, because I walked in earlier this morning and folks were just sort of like, you know, ferns before they unfurl in the spring. Everybody's just kind of like this. And then I blew the window open wide, and everybody went, whoa. So we're still trying to figure out that balance between like being comfortable and warm enough and having enough sort of energy and chill and cool flowing through to keep us awake. So please have compassion as we figure that out going forward. For those who haven't been to the Zendo on Wednesday nights, this is our grimoire. It is our book of spells. Sort of, I think in a certain way you could say the Mumonkan is the book of unspelling, the being bewitched by samsaric life. So I've been sort of going through the cases, and we're up to case 9. And Roshi wanted me to just keep going with it because we're going to be working on the Householder Sutra fascicle from Dogen starting like next week. But I personally am very much in the middle of Householder Zen, because the electricity just was like flickering all over the place in the house, and the dryer didn't work last night, and last weekend the refrigerator broke, and so right now Jikai is at the Abbacy connecting with some electricians. So yeah, Isabella woke up this morning, she's like, I had a cold shower. I'm like, well, you know, that's it too, is it not? Yeah, I think it's good to have all of this sand in the swimsuit of life, right? It really is, because it's constantly reminding us to not get stuck in, oh, how fabulous my practice is, how fabulous my life is, and how fabulous it's going. Unless you're one of those people that is like completely the opposite, how miserable my life is. In which case, anyway. That's not today's Tay show, I don't think. Although it might come around to it, I don't know. Let's see what happens. So this is case 9, Queen Grang's non-attained Buddha. A monk asked priest Qingrang of Xinjiang, the Buddha of supremely pervading, surpassing wisdom, did zazen on the Bodhi seat for 10,000 kalpas, but the Dharma of the Buddha did not manifest itself, and he could not attain Buddhahood. Why was that? Why was that? Actually, it's more like, why? Well, why was that? What the heck is going on here? Qingrang said, your question is exactly the point. And the monk said, but wait a minute, he did zazen on the Bodhi seat. Why couldn't he attain Buddhahood? I mean, this is the Buddha of supremely pervading, surpassing wisdom. Can you imagine if you get that Jukai name? Supremely pervading, surpassing wisdom. Oh, I think maybe we might be onto something there. Have to hang on to that thought. And then Qingrang said, because he is a non-attained Buddha. All that effort. Better than knowing the body is knowing the mind in peace. When the mind is realized, the body is no longer anxious. When the body and mind are fully realized, the saintly hermit declines to become noble. So this is one of those koans that you really have to enter into from the space of zazen. And let's look at it together and see what we can find. So this first line, a monk asked the priest Qingrang, you know when the name of the monk is not mentioned, that they're probably not a lineage holder. They were just a lowly, non-attained student, as they say. So in this case, the student has got a very serious question. The Buddha of supremely pervading, surpassing wisdom did zazen on the Bodhi seat for 10 kalpas. So, of course, supremely pervading, surpassing wisdom is like a really highly attained Buddha, right? That's Anyuttara Samyak Sodhi, Anyuttara Samyak Sambodhi level attainment in Buddha, very high level Buddha. Did zazen on the Bodhi seat. So we're all sitting on the Bodhi seat, right? As soon as you sit down on your cushion, you're on the Bodhi seat. For 10 kalpas. Now you may think a retreat is long. You may think a period of zazen is a bit long. A kalpa has been described as the erosion effect of a huge mountain being brushed by the wing of a dove on its peak every 1,000 years, and the time that it would take to erode that mountain. That is a kalpa. Okay? So we're talking some long, long ass sitting there. But the Dharma of the Buddha did not manifest itself, and he could not attain Buddhahood. I mean, how many of us have said, what the heck? I've been sitting for so long. Anything? Maybe a little? So it's so interesting. This question haunts us pretty much our entire life as a practitioner. Because there's always more to see. And in fact, the deeper we go, the more we realize how far we have to go. Dogen famously said, when the Buddha Dharma fills our body and mind, we always feel that there's something lacking. And of course, we also hear we are full and complete and lacking nothing. How is it that both things are true? This is very interesting. Very interesting. It's interesting. I meet with some Dharma teachers on Zoom, and we were just in a meeting at noon, and I actually said something similar to this question of like, I'm just afraid I'm not really a good teacher, or I'm not doing my job well enough, or that I wanted so much more for myself to be so much better of a teacher than I am at the current moment when I was younger, and that somehow I've failed my youthful self, Same kind of question, right? And of course, as soon as it went out of my mouth, maybe about half an hour later, actually, I saw the koan of it. And Dogen I guess he's saying, don't be surprised and don't be afraid of that feeling. And there's something more as well. The Dharma of the Buddha did not manifest itself, and he could not attain Buddhahood. This business of attaining Buddhahood, that's what we're here for, right? The Buddha way is unattainable. I vow to embody it. It's pretty central to what we're doing, right? But the Dharma, the definition of attain, or shall I say the experience of attain, is not anything that can be measured by samsaric principles. It's actually far, far beyond any measure or rule or judgment of have or have not. A little bit of has or has not is the difference between heaven and earth, as the koan goes. But we still have to wrestle with this question. Why did this awesome, like superpower Buddha of supremely pervading, surpassing wisdom not attain Buddhahood? What would it be like if we didn't attain Buddhahood? Really have to wrestle with this question for real. Do I love myself? Do I love my life? If I don't absolutely do this thing that's the most important thing in the world? It's a very interesting question. So his teacher said, your question, why didn't he attain Buddhahood, is exactly the point. In other words, why didn't the most awesome, all-pervading, wise Buddha not attain Buddhahood? Now, if you can see into the answer to this question, you're doing pretty good. Because when you can see how much these gaining ideas that we have in our hearts and in our minds are getting in our way of experiencing right here, right now, already accomplished. And the amazing thing is that the chairs are teaching us, and the birds are teaching us, and each being seated next to each other is teaching us. I mean, don't you look at the person sitting next to you and they just seem like the most incredible, radiant Buddha, right? I mean, everybody just glows, right, in the Zendo. But the problem is, we ourselves can't see our own glow up, right? And weirdly, you can't even feel it either. It's beyond our assessments. Yet it's totally manifest and totally obvious and clear. It's the weirdest thing. So the master says, your question is exactly the point. Investigating, why was that? And the poor student just kind of didn't exactly, the hammer didn't hit the nail there, so to speak. And how many times does the hammer not hit the nail? A lot, right? And it's fine. It's perfect. It's not a problem, because that too is it, right? But from where the monk is in his own heart and in his mind, but wait a minute. He did Zazen on the Bodhi seat, and he couldn't attain Buddhahood. This is making me crazy, right? This is a big problem. And you're not listening to me. What's wrong with you? I mean, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with this all-pervading, amazing Buddha that couldn't get it together? What's wrong here? Right? You can feel it. You can feel it. You can feel it. And so when we're sitting and we're like, all of that is churn, is happening. Why isn't this good enough? Blah, 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 blah. That too is not separate from our Buddhahood. It's always arising in that field of all-pervading, amazing perfection, total safety, however you want to say it or experience it. And what's happening on the cushion is we're actually training in getting into the nitty-gritty truth of that. But the weird thing is you don't do it by just like saying, oh, all those questions and all those concerns are just kind of bullshit, and I'm just going to like sweep them away, I'm going to push them away, and I'm just going to do my practice. Try to push away all the thinking, the emotions and the thoughts. You actually have to like allow the full experience of that. Why am I not attaining? Why is this not working? Like the full pinch and the full expression of your humanity, right? Of the moment that you're in, this precious moment, this very human moment. This is who we are as humans. This is what it means to be a human. This is what it means to be a human Buddha. Right? This is what it means to be a human Buddha. And as soon as we really settle into that, human, non-attained Buddha, the world is different. Our hearts are different. Okay, the verse. Better than knowing the body is knowing the mind in peace. When the mind is realized, the body is no longer anxious. When body and mind are fully realized, the saintly hermit declines to become noble. Better than knowing the body is knowing the mind in peace. Remember that famous koan, mind is Buddha. Right? Here, mind means consciousness. And this is not just like your brain having a narrative discussion with itself about what's happening. This is your whole, can't even put words on it, but we all know it. What's even before your narration, that deep sense of awareness and here-ness, that be here now, right? When the be here now mind is at peace, the body is no longer anxious. And we all know that. We've all experienced that. And Zazen gives us that in spades, does it not? Of course, then, you're up off the cushion and you're up, you're running, right? How easy it is to go flip. That is it, actually, that sort of coming in and out. Actually, wow, I'm forgetting her name. This is horrible. Melissa. Melissa's Dharma name, which I forget now as well. There is, I have the point though. Means Firefly Hall. Isn't that interesting? And James gave her that name because of this kind of the light coming in and out, and in and out, and in and out, and in and out. That is our condition, right? It's not a problem. The in is Buddha, the on switch is Buddha, and the off, the dark, is Buddha. Very hard to live into that outside of practice, because it doesn't make sense to the samsaric mind. Either you're in or you're out, right? The body is no longer anxious. Well, maybe, maybe not. Maybe your body is completely anxious. Maybe you've got a headache. Maybe you're really struggling with health conditions. Not a problem. Everything is held in this non-attained Buddha. When body and mind are fully realized, the saintly hermit declines to become noble. Well, because the saintly hermit is noble. You don't have to become it. And God knows so many of our most vexing problems come from not embodying our nobility. Right? Regardless of what the world has thrown at us, regardless of what our own karmic past has thrown at us. This is the Buddha's seat that you're sitting on. This is the Buddha's body that is sitting on the Buddha's seat. This is the Buddha's mind sitting on the Bodhi seat. For 10,000 million kalpas. How lucky we are. How lucky we are.
And the Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them.